Hello, I am David, the AI-powered tutor. Did you know that this video series was created using an artificial intelligence-powered video automation bot? If you would like to know more about its features, please visit ai.datascience.1. Hello world. Welcome to the Introduction to Python Programming video tutorial by Data Science Academy. Let us learn a little bit about functions in Python. By now, hopefully you have some basic understanding about data types, control flows, and looping techniques in Python. To refresh what you have learned earlier, please watch the videos in the playlist mentioned in the description. Have fun programming in bits. We ask you to practice the examples mentioned in the tutorial. Please leave a comment if you have any queries or need some clarification. Functions are named blocks of code that are designed to do a specific task. Whenever the task that was defined in a function is required, the name of the defined function is called and the task is executed. The syntax for defining functions is shown here. The keyword def introduces a function definition. It must be followed by the function name and a parenthesized list of formal parameters. The statements that form the body of the function start at the next line, and must be indented. We will take a closer look at each part in the subsequent slides. We create a simple custom function called sum. We start by defining the name of the function, in this case, sum. This simple function has no parameters. In the second line, we assign 10 and 25 as values of variables, a and b. The sum of a and b is printed out. The entire code is saved as a Python script called sum. Please watch the video titled, Creating and Executing Scripts, to recollect how to write a code and run it in idle. The link to the video is available in the description. When the script containing the function is run in idle, it prints the value of 35. A more flexible way of writing a function is using parameters. These are the variables which store the arguments given by the user. A function with parameters would look like this. Here, a and b are parameters which are used to store the arguments. Arguments are the values which are assigned to parameters. Arguments can have default values, or they can be provided by the user. In this example, we create a function called addNum, with two parameters, namely, a and b. The function addNum, as the name suggests, adds the two given numbers, and prints the output. When the function is run with the arguments provided by the user, we get the output. Why not try it by yourself with other arguments for the parameters, a and b? It is possible to create functions with default arguments. It is easier to call the function because there are fewer arguments that have to be passed. In this example, we are defining a function called origin with two parameters, name and place. The parameter called place has Norway as the default argument. When we run the function called origin, giving Sven as the only argument for the parameter called name, we can see the output is with the default parameter for the place. The default parameter can also be overridden by explicitly providing an argument for the parameter called place, in this case, giving the output stating that Oleg is from Finland. One can pass, that is, provide arguments to the parameters in a function in two different ways. They are positional and keyword arguments. Positional arguments need to be passed in the same order in which the parameters were written while defining the function. When using keyword arguments, each argument should consist of the name of the parameter and its value. Positional arguments need to be passed in the same order in which the parameters were written. In other words, the order in which the arguments are passed is important. With our example, when we change the order in which we pass the arguments, we get different outputs. This is because we have assigned 100 as the argument for the first parameter and 50 as the argument for the second parameter. When we flip the order of the arguments, the output is different. When using positional arguments, the order in which arguments are passed should be the same order in which their corresponding parameters are assigned, while defining the function. Functions can also be called using keyword arguments by specifying the name of the parameter and assigning a value to it, In this example, both outputs are the same. This is because we pass the argument in combination with the name of the parameter. As long as the argument is matched with the correct parameter, the order of passing the arguments is not important here. The return statement returns with a value from a function. Return without an expression argument returns none. Falling off the end of a function also returns none. We will try to understand the usage of return statement in a function and how it is different from just printing out variables to a console. Here we create a script called ret.py and define two functions, namely, addPrint and subret. We can use the functions we just created after we run the script within idle. The first function adds the two arguments and only prints the result in idle. Here the variable, result1, is of type none. This is not the case for the second function, which does a subtraction operation and stores the value in the variable, result2, but does not print an output in idle. This becomes apparent when we call the variables, result1 and result2. Also, you might notice that we have used positional arguments in the first function, and keyword arguments in the second. With this, we conclude the first part of the video on functions. We hope that you learned something new today. Practice what you learned. And see you soon in the next video of this Python programming series. In the next video, we will continue learning functions in Python. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed learning, please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.